Hey guys, we're the Spectacular Trio. Wade is having some technical difficulties, so he will join whenever he can. And yeah, so today we got Thomas Russell, and you are an author and radio host, or
Right. Author, radio host,
okay,
speaker, public speaker.
okay, yeah. I did not know you did public speaking as well. So,
Yeah, yeah,
And a journalist for magazines.
yeah. Well, you must have really done a lot of research on me then, huh?
Yes.
Yep.
I told you, you inspired me.
Well, good. Yeah, I was editor for a national magazine back when I was in my 20s.
Yep. I found it on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
they have everything there, man.
Yep.
Amazon just has everything.
Yep.
I did see you've written 2 books.
Yes.
Right.
Like Bring It North.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Finding Your True North, A Bullied Teen's Journey of Hope, and Nowhere Man. It's about homelessness.
Okay.
I think that it was an awesome thing that you wrote the bully book.
It was it's a labor of love. I can't say that I was the kind of person who was traumatized to the point where I was devastated, but you can't really see it right now. But I really considered myself. I had a big nose, particularly when I was in middle school, and kids would say comments like, "Your nose needs its own zip code." You get Pinocchio. You get Pinocchio competition. Your nose arrives in the room 5 minutes before you do. So consequently, I just felt like that's my nose defined me. I didn't have any clue inside who I really was, but I thought that whenever anybody looked at me, that's what they saw. They didn't see what was inside me. That's what I felt. Although I come to later learn that that wasn't the case because of the people that I had connected with. But I used to put newspapers on my mirror because I didn't want to see myself. I used to not want to look at pictures of myself because all I would see is the profile of my nose. So that's how my body image was so uh, down in the dumps when I did that. Um, but I got over it as I got older because I just kind of felt like, what's the point? What's the point of focusing on that? Because I have so much more to offer within myself than how I look. And once I start getting that confidence, I didn't have to worry about how I looked anymore.
Hmm. So what made you want to write the book?
Well, it was kind of a light bulb moment, and I try to condense it, the Reader's Digest version. But basically, I had a girl in my 6th grade class. She was bullied relentlessly, more than anybody else I've ever seen in my own personal experience. But I never bullied her. And there's a time where she got beat up in school, and during recess, she ran home and her. She told her mom that she wasn't going to go back to school, and her mom said, "Yes, you are," and she said, "No, I'm not." And so her mom locked her in a room. Her mom, she told me her mom locked her in a room 6 to 8 to 10 hours a day. And so I said, I just felt like that it was just a situation where she could not function in a normal school setting anymore because that's how she felt by her mom. And it was just a terrible situation. Now, the reason why I learned about all this is I learned her story 40 years after I had her in 6th grade. And so I felt like to ask her the questions, you know what? I didn't know what you were going through. And I said, so what happened with you? I said, well, I quit school in 6th grade. My mother had 11 different uh, boyfriends, and each time I went to a different school, and I got bullied in each school. So I just couldn't handle life anymore. And I said, well, that was 40 years ago. How, obviously you must have overcome that, right? And she said, no, I haven't. I've gone through, I'm disabled. I can't keep a relationship. I can't keep a job. because that's how I've lived my life. And at that moment, I just kind of felt like, you know what, we go through life talking to people, down to people, and we don't realize the how damaging that is to people. And the thing is you guys don't say anything, right? So a lot of people just don't say anything, so they go through life not saying a word, and they just hold that inside. And so at that moment, I just said, you know, I have to write this book. I have to show other people that they have a, a way to not be the victim anymore and be the victor. And I worked with middle school kids for the past 14 years with an organization called 5 Star Life, and that's the most incredible organization ever. So we teach these kids these values, these 5 core values of sacrifice, integrity, respect, responsibility, and courage. And we taught these kids, you know, you can do anything you want. You have these dreams, right? What do you want with your life? And I just impressed that upon them. And I started looking at myself at age 52 and saying, what the heck am I doing? I'm a hypocrite. I'm not fulfilling my passion, my dreams of doing what I wanted with my life. I gave up my dream of becoming an author decades ago. And I just realized that I have to do something. So I wanted to write the book that had those 5 core values of sacrifice, integrity, respect, responsibility, and courage. And I wanted to wrap that around putting a 14-year-old who is bullied relentlessly by someone who would just gnawed at him constantly. And then he lived in a home, a dysfunctional home with an alcoholic father. And he ended up deciding he couldn't take it anymore. He runs away and he goes to a town where he learns these 5 core values from different characters in the book to help build up his self-esteem. So when he got to the point where he wanted to take control of his life anymore, he had those 5 core values inside him that he'd be able to overcome anything, any objection or anything that somebody wanted to throw at him. He had the tools necessary inside himself that he would have the confidence to do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a really cool story. That is hard. Because a lot of people do hold it in.
Yeah.
And then they blame themselves for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's their truth. Because if you get constantly bombarded with negativity all the time and just start berating you and beating you down, at some point you start believing that, hey, I've got something wrong with me because, you know, you said something and then someone else says something, and it just starts to wear you down. So you have to get to the point where you, like you said, Caleb said, enough is enough. I'm not going to let anybody beat on me anymore. But here's the thing: when people get to that point, unfortunately, some people will lash out. And a really good way to disarm someone who is oppressing you, bullying you, making you feel like you're less than worthy, is you come back with kindness, and that's the hardest thing to do. And, you know, so Caleb, if you just say something like, just say something nasty to me. Go ahead, say whatever you like. Tell me how big my nose is.
Coward.
I'm a coward?
Yes.
Wow, Caleb, you know, that's interesting you said that, because, you know, I thought Bob over there, I thought Nolan would said something like that to me, but Caleb, I thought you had a lot more character than that. And you know what, Caleb, you're awesome.
Thank you.
Yep. And so what is that going to do? Two things are going to happen. One, it's going to give you the confidence and the courage to stand up to the bully in kindness rather than lashing out on someone saying, you're an idiot, you know, because you're just going back and forth. And ultimately what's going to happen is you're like this, you know, the bully's up here, you're down here, right? And what you want to do is you want to level the playing ground. You want to put yourself in that position where you have total control. So when you start working on these people, these kids who start making you feel less than worthy, you now have control over this. And that's the hardest thing to do, is to teach these kids. If you're constantly berated all the time, you have to have the confidence to want to do this. You got to sell it with your body language. You have to sell it with your inflections of your voice. You have to make that decision that I'm not going to get beat anymore. And it's got to be consistent. And what happens is there are people who watch what's going on. And if they see that you're no longer going to be the toy for them, they're going to move on. But it takes time. It takes a lot of belief in yourself to do this. Excuse me.
Yeah. And a lot of the times, I don't know if this is true for every bully, but if they're bullying someone for like a certain thing that's happening to the person, that usually means like something's not right in their life, usually.
Well, that's almost, I should say 100% of the time, but that's generally what the case is, because they feel just as crappy as you feel when you're being talked down to all the time. And you have to recognize that, Mr. Victim, that they're going through something. And I watch these kids in Five Star Life, and I see them banter back and forth on occasion. And occasionally they start to get on each other, under each other's nerves. And I just tell them, look, I want you to remember what you said to that person, and try to put yourself in the other person's situation. Do you know what's going on with their life? Ask them what's going on with their life. And then you're going to find out, because they want to, they don't expect someone who's playing the role of the victim to ask them what's going on in your life. Well, what is it that you feel it necessary to come back at me? And again, that's hard to do, because we're taught, right? We're taught to battle back. Yep. And that's unfortunate, because some parents decide, if you want to not be bullied anymore, you need to become the bully. You need to fight back. And sometimes it gets to get out of hand. And I'm never an advocate of any kind of violence back, because what happens is you end up becoming the bully. And I've had plenty of people on my show who've talked about their bullying experiences, and they've told me that they became a bully because that was their natural transition of their life, because they figure if in order not to be bullied, you had to become the bully to be on the other side of that control.
Yeah, I think that's just the way society, how they always say to fight back when someone's pushing down on you, but sometimes the best option is to just take the high road and do what not a lot of other people would do, and treat them with kindness. Nowadays, people are slowly doing more of that, but back in the day, kind of like in that story, a lot of the people, they would just fight back, and that would just continue a system. It would be a cycle. More bullies.
Yeah, I was working with one 16-year-old girl who, she was bullied by someone for 8 consecutive years. This girl, her neighbor actually, and it got to be the point where this girl, tried to commit suicide. She was put in a mental ward. She was cutting herself. She was doing all PTSD, everything you can think of. And when I went over there to talk to her, this is what really made me realize that the book that I wrote can actually influence someone's thought process, their mindset. Because, we sat there for an hour and a half with her mom in the room, and all we did was just cry. We just cried because it was that emotional, it was that deep, and it was that because she wasn't able to express herself to that extent. She worked with therapists, but I mean, she didn't know me from Adam. I had never met her in my life. And there was a connection that we had. And finally she said, you know what? I am so tired of being the victim. I'm not going to be the victim anymore. And that made me feel good that she was able to do this. But I said, you know what? You've gone through 8 years of this. It's not going to turn over just in one night. it's just not, it's not going to happen, because it's a habit thing. You have to make that decision every single day, to make that change in your life, change that focus in your life, that you're not going to let it beat you anymore. But I said, here's what I'd like you to do. And I do this to this day is, um, when we talk about sacrifice, you take your eyes off yourself and onto someone else. You just start focusing on them, and um, you say something nice to someone. You know what I do during Lent, for 40 days, and actually all the way through the year, but I really focus on this, is I'll contact someone, uh, via message, text, call, in person, and I'll say something encouraging to that person. And what that does is it disarms that person, not because they're, mean to you or whatever, but they feel like someone actually thinks I'm worthy of something. And again, you don't know what they're going through, right? They could be going through some junk in their life that no one knows about. But when someone reaches out and says something nice to someone, just out of the blue, you don't have to time it or whatever, just out of the blue. And this is the theme of what happens is, I don't think I don't think you know what I've been going through today, but I needed to hear that today. I really need to hear that today. There's one woman I was helping her with her daughter who's being bullied, and I sent a message to her, and she said, "I don't know why you sent this to me today, but I had to hear this today, because you know what? I tried to commit suicide. I didn't have a clue." That floored me, because it's like, um, the power of words spoken in truth and light and joy and kindness goes so much further than someone who feels like it's necessary to bring someone down.
That's so true.
Because it's lasting, right? Because you may not remember what someone says to you, or you may zone it out when someone says something negative to you, but when someone says something nice to you, that could change your whole life.
Yep, yes it can.
Right. So we talked about the reasons for the book. The radio show that you host, is that like the same kind of thing? Is it about the book, or like, what's that necessarily about?
Well, when I decided to do the book, or excuse me, to do the show, I wanted to have people on, guests on my show, who would talk about their bullying experiences and how they overcame them. And that was great for a while, but I realized, you know what? There's more to life than that subject matter. I want to talk to people who have come through different challenges in their life and overcame them, and found solutions in their life that uh, when on close inspection, when you see that what they've gone through, it's something that you would think that nobody would get through. I mean, I had a gentleman who had no arms, no legs, but he thrived, he survived, and he was the fourth highest rated wrestler in the country in high school. You can't even imagine. You can't make up that story, because I've seen him wrestle, and he's a really good wrestler. Um, and I've had some people who gone through depression, or I just had a woman who was sexually abused, and then she became a Guinness Book World Record holder for doing 5 triathlons in 5 days. So I wanted to pivot and talk about different things in people's lives, where they're victorious and they're triumphant in their lives, and they inspire other people, because that's the whole idea about doing this show. Is it's not about me. It's never about me. It's always about the people that I reach out, who make a change, make a difference in people's lives, because this show is live and people ask questions during the show, and it's worldwide. So I mean, we don't know if that person who's talking on the other end there, and on the guest, if they're reaching out to someone else and say, "Hey, I want the exact same thing, and I want that connection," and that's the reason why I reach out constantly, and talk to different people. And I've had I've had Olympic swimmers on my, Rowdy Gaines is on my show. I've had Christopher Knight on my show, Peter Brady. It's just across the board. And it has affected me just as much as it impacted other people. It's because they inspire me. Because if I'm going through a bunch of junk, I listen to them and say, you know what am I complaining about? You know,
Yeah.
these people have seen worse things happen in their lives than I will ever see. And look where they are now. You know, that's the reason why I do the show.
That's awesome.
That is.
How long you been doing the show?
It'll be 2 years in April.
Okay, awesome.
So I have about 100 shows in right now.
Nice.
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. It's a life changer. It's a life changer. Now, uh, well, I can't tell you what's going to happen. I have to get to the thing, but things are going to happen to my show where it's going to get a wider exposure.
Nice. That's awesome.
And so I'm trying to nail down everything, but it's truly exciting.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
I was thinking you should try and make your bully book into a movie.
You know what? There was a guest of mine, Betty Hefner, and she's helping me with this, and that's what I really want to do. But it's so difficult to find the right person. You know, it's all about connections. You know, you connect someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows someone. But here's the way I look at it, right? The worst no you're ever going to get is the one you don't ask, right? Because if you want to do something and the thing that stops you is the rejection, you're not going to accomplish anything. And so that's the same thing with trying to get this movie made. I don't really care how many no's I get. I don't care one flipping bit, because if I know that I'm failing, it means I'm failing forward. It means I'm doing something to accomplish things. But I would love to have that book or Nowhere Man, the one on homelessness, which is just as incredible. That I think that it would be. I can't wait for you to read it, Caleb.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will definitely. When it happens, I will definitely go see the movie.
Yeah, me too, because I'm dying to see a movie of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got a lot of things. You know, the thing about writing a book, people tend to give up because they don't think they have anything of value to impart on people. You don't write a book just for that. You know, if you write it for money, forget it, because you're not going to be independently wealthy. Only 1% of the authors can say that they're independently wealthy. And so, you waking up there, Caleb?
No, I'm just yawning a lot.
Dude, you're okay. No, I would love to see it come in a movie, but it's something that everyone wants to do, and yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
I hope so.
I like how you have big dreams for it. That's awesome, especially in this day and age. It's hard to have that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, it is.
Well, people get on the precipice of that point where they can get to the next level, but they just don't feel that whatever dream it is, it's just not big enough. You know, you're going to have that in front of you every single day, right, Caleb and Nolan?
Yes.
You have to want something so badly that you can feel it, you can taste it, you can smell it, it's just everything within your fiber of your being. It just propels you to do great things, and it doesn't have to be huge. It just has to be your dream. It doesn't have to be a dream that so far out there that you never even think about accomplishing. It's just that little smidgen. Hey, this is what I did today. This is how much closer I got to my dream. Because the idea about the whole title of Finding Your True North is, you know, finding your true north is this. Okay, it's like a tree. So you want to climb to the top of that tree, right? Yeah. So what happens is you find these little forks on the tree, the little branches on the tree, and those branches are your obstacles, right? So you have these obstacles that stop you from going up. it gives you, and you start accepting this as well. I can't get this because I can't get my dreams because. You have to pivot. You have to start thinking about this. You have to say, I can do this because. Once you say that I made a decision to do something, I made a decision to lose weight, and I made a decision to start exercising more.
That means you committed to it.
Now, well, it's close, but the thing is, when you make a decision, it doesn't mean you're actually putting it into action. You make a decision by the reason why. You make a decision by saying, I made a decision to do this because I need this, or because I want to do this. That you have to find your why, and whatever it is, whatever dream you want, or whatever you want to do with your life, you have to make that decision because these are going to be the results. Because
Yeah.
if you don't do that, you're just going to make decisions after decision after decision, and it's just going to lay there. So when you start talking about writing a book or making a movie or exercising, you just plateau. Because you're going to look at those obstacles and say, this is where I'm destined to be, because that's the path that I chose to take. And that path that you're taking quite possibly could just derail you for a long time, or you can just pull back and start going up to that tree, the top of the tree, and then, man, the sky's the limit. You can do so much in your life if you believe whatever you're doing, and it's incredible.
Yes, it is.
I talk a lot. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Well, when I get
Same
passionate,
thing.
when I get passionate about life and start
Mhm.
talking about other people's lives, I can't stop.
Hey,
good thing.
I have the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Wade can show up. His computer's having some problems.
I am
So,
so sorry, Wade.
yeah, that's
We miss you.
that's who I was texting down here just throughout. So
That's good.
yeah.
That's good.
Um.
So
Do
what
you
is
have
it?
any questions for us?
Yeah, I want to find out what you guys want to do with your lives. What do you want to do?
Make a difference.
When you say make a difference, that's your decision. That's your
Yes.
decision. What's your action? What's your why? What is it you want to do to make a difference?
I want to make a difference in my life because I see all these stuff that people do to help people, and then it makes me want to make also people happy of it.
So what action plan do you have to do that?
Like inspire people not to give up on themselves or to dream.
So where are you doing this? How are you reaching out to people to do that?
Through the show.
Through the show. You get people to ask questions later on, or how do you know what kind of impact you have?
Like we ask people what made them want to do their dreams and what made them not give up on it.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that cool? That's really cool when you know that you're doing something, and you're doing it for the right reasons, Caleb and Nolan, because it's
Yes,
like
sir.
you don't do it for yourself, because once you start reflecting on yourself, you forget the reason why you're doing it.
To get people and children to feel good about themselves.
Yep. That's the whole idea, and you guys can do this every single day. And I just encourage you. This is what I tell people as much as I can: is every single day you find someone you want to connect with and say something encouraging, and don't expect a response back, or don't expect something in kind. you do it. It's because out of the kindness of your own heart, and it just propels you to so much self-confidence, because it makes you. Where'd you go, Caleb? I'm losing you.
I'm going down.
Oh, okay.
I was up.
All right. What about you, Nolan? What do you want to do?
Right now I'm wondering what Caleb's doing, but
I'm fine, Nolan.
Yeah, I want to do the same thing, make a difference, mainly because me and Caleb, we both grew up in a hospital.
Yep.
We have the same genetic disease, NPS 1.
Yep.
What's that?
It's a genetic disorder that affects your cells, your bones, and
your brain.
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
it killed all the cells in your body.
So do you guys realize what you're doing now? You're doing the exact same thing that I do with my guest is you've got challenges in your life, both of you, right?
Yep.
And you instead of focusing on those challenges, you reach out and you connect with people like me and other people who want to be inspired. And I applaud you guys for doing something like this. It's incredible what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys are way awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I like to do it.
Same.
So I just want to make a difference. So, or try to at least.
No, there's no
Hey.
try. There's no try.
Yeah, you're right.
No, there's just do, you know.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't,
He's right.
because I don't, and when I'm not fond of the word try because you leave an open door to step on the other side of failure. When you start looking at the word do, you do it. You just do it, right? Because you just leave yourself open for the opportunity to walk away and say, well, I tried it and it didn't work out. But you leave that opening when you try. And some people don't agree with that. But my focus is on action and not yawning.
Hey,
Yeah.
I can't help that I yawn.
That's okay. Hey, I've been there. I sometimes only get 4 hours sleep. So, dude, I'm fully on your
I hate
mark there.
sleeping.
Yeah. Yeah, you have too much life to live, don't you?
Yes, and I hate sleeping.
Yeah.
Do you have any other questions for us?
Yeah, do you?
Where's next? What's going to happen with you guys next? What's your plan? That's to do more with the show.
What's our plan, Nolan?
So as right now, we're still getting people, obviously.
Yeah.
We just
We're getting
now,
their attention.
Yeah.
right now we're kind of in the building stage. We got a website the other last
Yeah.
week. So
Yeah.
Yep.
so just building the foundation right now.
Well, don't get discouraged, guys, because there's going to be times just like me with this show, and just like me with the books and me in speaking engagements. Don't give up, because if you start giving up, if you allow that terrible feeling inside yourself, because you're going to find that excuse. Don't give up, guys.
All right. Thank you so much, Thomas, for coming on.
John.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was an awesome time.
Yeah.
I hope your
Yes, it
show
was.
goes well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Much appreciated. Hey, thanks a lot, guys. And Caleb, I'm going to send you the book. Get me your email address, or not me, your physical address, and I'll get the book sent out to you.
Okay, I'll send you my address.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Bye. You
Bye.